Ukhuluma ngami, ngikhuluma ngengane. Ngisuke ngiphunywa uwe ukuthi usuxakekile kakhulu. Iinkabi ke le. Uyakhona ukuthi abantu basemthethweni uthi ngicela ningidayisele isibhamu sokuthi angithi kuhlalwa nabo, phuzwa nabo. Ayikho inkabi engawisa umuntu ngo-10,000, ngo-20,000, ngo-30,000. Uqala kusukela ku-40, 50 kuya phezulu. Manje akhona amakhulu eseshila ukuthi kunabantu abaningi ofanele bewe ngezathu sokuthi kuyavota phela. I-easy target yabo yazi ukuthi bashayeka kuphi kalolu emgwaqeni. Mina ngisebenza njenge-intelligent, ngiresearcha, ngiyatracker, ngiyabhala yonke i-movement yakho oyenzayo. Ushaye ikhanda yena lokuthi unzima kakhulu, ngishaye ngakholwa naye. Futhi ukuze ngitshengise ukuthi angisabi ngiyama ngoba fanele ngingabaleki phela ngithi kukhokhiwe asiba abangani ngithi ukungibashela umsebenzi angifonela ukuthi hey right yini angifuni ungamuka ngibuza leyo suyingozi kumina singekushaya futhi wena.
We are mostly targeted because the rotary device they're expensive, so we're targeted, and if you don't have it, you can get killed.
I'm a student, I go late in Ufunda and then come back late. I always have fears of being shot or killed.
I walk alone to my race. Already, like when I see a male or something, I already fear for my life, but okay, something might happen, I need to move fast.
My own brother, he dodged about 4 bullets last month. 2 of his friends didn't really make it.
It was a normal friendly gathering, but somehow we got into a fight and I had like a Glock 45 to my face.
It's like something that we always hear, like it's become something that's normal that shouldn't be normal.
If we allow guns to be legal, we're gonna end up like America.
As the citizens of South Africa, we should strive and fight so that the guns can be banned.
If there were more like police officers or security companies that are patrolling the streets every single day, then I think that will help us feel safer at least.
We don't know what is going to happen to us now as we are standing in the streets. That's what happened to AKA. That's what happened to DJ Somebody. They all died on the streets. But who's protecting our streets?
So those were some of the comments coming from young people on the ground. And on that note, we want to say hello, Dumelang Sanwanani, South Africa. A very warm welcome to your #1 youth current affairs show. Of course, Kibalaka Expressions. This is definitely the place for you to air your views. I'm your host, Jacqueline Maphala.
Dimloke ukholosa kalubisi uMadlongothi inene umpuluchaba uqoqisile waqoqa lachitheka igazi lolutsha ingaba kufa luphi ulwamvilo lwakho namhlanje ke sixoxelele ingxoxo si-expressions the spike in gun violence. We invite you to be part of this important discussion. Siyabuza apha ekhaya, do you think we will ever win the battle against gun violence? Nansi ingxelo. Sitheke si-expressions make sichophe sikwazi into yokubana sigxile ngalomba kunye neenduna zalapha eThokoza hostel. Enza ukuncokola naye ke ngutata uMbatha. Mandini bulise nonke ndinamtyele nawe tata uMbatha. Ndibulise kwamtyele kwinkqubo ye-expressions.
Nathi siyabemukela.
Ingaba tata uluvo lwakho kulomcelimngeni esijamelene nawo ngoku ukusetyenziswa gwenxa kwemipu uthini?
Yabona njengoba sikhona nje sizinto noma ukhuluma bathi umumpe ngithi mina isibhamu. Yabona isibhamu leso okhuluma ngaso sesiqeda abantu. Asifuna ukusibona bona. Asifuna ukubona futhi ukufa kwabantu. Asinawo amandla aphezulu kwamaphoyisa. Kodwa sinawo amandla ukuthi basiphethe abantu la ukuthi futhi senze njani. Umuntu mayebulela umuntu sifike nasekhaya enkosini sithi hit esiyolamula abantu, hit esiyokhuza abantu. Kodwa nathi njengoba sikhona sizinduna nje le masimthotha useduzane siyakwazi ukuthi simbambe simuse emaphoyiseni ilanga nelanga seqe igazi namanje manje nilapha ngezoje siqhuma isibhamu asazi isiqhunyiso banje kulapha nje ngeke ubone na ukuthi ubani lo uqinisile isibhamu thina okokuqala njengoba sikhona nje la sitrainwe ngokomqondo wethu hayi ngokutrainwe ngokwesilungu amaphoyisa atrainwe ngokwesilungu
zintoni ocinga bamhlawumbe ababantu abatsha njengoba sebesebenzisa umpu yintoni lena ebanangazelelayo ukude babe bayangena kobumdlobongela bayayiphila lempilo
ibhamu lapha ezikhona la zibhamu engekho emthethweni kodwa nje ukubulala abantu asazi baqhamuka lapha abantu ababulala abantu noma basuka kwezinye indawo baphinde beye babaleka noma bezala ngesonto nje kungenzeka bona sibiza umhlangano sibiza isizwe sithi wesizwe elisitsheneni uyadliwa umuntu kini njengoba nibulala ngakanje abantu nawe uyadliwa umuntu ngakini wena ke sisi ngiyombuza wena bayadliwa
Tundu
manje ke nathi ke silela lokho ukuthi phela abasukulawa abantu
isiXhosa sithi indlela ibuzwa kwabaphambili amazwi nje okukhuthaza umuntu omtsha ukuba abeke phansi lo mpu
sihloniphane nje sonke singabantu abamnyama umncane ahloniphe umdala umdala ahloniphe umncane
kubhekeni futhi niqikelele ukuthi okwenza namhlanje kuzoba umphumela ozovela ngesikhathi sewukhulile into elimele ukwethembana phakathi komphakathi namaphoyisa uma kungabuyi ukwethembana kulezi inhlaka zombili umphakathi namaphoyisa kulula ukusebenza
sizama ngayo yonke indlela sizendoni ukuthi umphakathi suncene ukuthi umphakathi wakithi musani ukubulalana nodwa senza sure ukuthi amagama njalo ayafika njena kulungile noma beyithatha inqomo bebulalana kodwa ayangena emadlebeni abo ukuthi musani ukubulalana nodwa.
You know, it is concerning the state of affairs, especially when it comes to crime statistics that are showing that between November and January this year, more than 3,000 people were killed through firearms. And we know that when murder happens within a family, dreams are crushed. If there's no conviction, does anyone ever get a sense of closure? We caught up with a mother who shared her grief over losing a son to gun violence. As expressions, we want to extend our deepest condolences to the Pazu family. Take a look at this.
Sivile into yokubana walahlekelwa ngunyana wakho.
Wesisi.
Khawusichubele mama kwenzeka ntoni kunini ade kanti uyalahleka kulo.
Ukuphuma kwakho apha endlini bekunga around 7 late. Kodwa into yandothusa kuye ngumntana oqhela uhamba azange akathi xa kephuma apha endlini athi mama ndiyahamba ndiyabuya but ngelalanga wathi mama ndiyabuya ne. Ndathi mina okay waphuma wahamba 3 or 4. I will say because bathe laa nto yenzeke ngo-3 but apha endlini kufika abantwana ababini mama vuka bagadla zicango mama ndivele yintoni bathi nxiba phuma ndinxiba ndiyaphi athi usiya udutyulwe so ndaya ndothuka ndaskrema ndaphuma ndathi sendiphumile apha ejardini ndacinga omnye umama olapha phambili ndakuvusa yena makhivuka ndikhaphe kuthiwa usiyabulela udutyulwe saphuma ke so singene emotweni ibaleke ke imoto iye xa sijika ikhona kule ndawo endibona uba yindawo besisiya kuyo xa sijika ikona ndivele ndimbone siseza mos ndimbone nangu apha ehleli khona intloko uyenze nje kwabe ke kugcwele i-community sekugcwele kuthe kubetha u-6 o'clock bekungathi andazi zathi ngathi kusweleke bani because besekugcwele over ngabantu amapolisa wona afike ngabo 10 past 9 to 10 ukufika kwamapolisa i-forensic yona yafika ngabo 11 so since wasweleka ndamncwaba ebunzimeni ngoba bengekho umuntu osebenzayo apha endlini bendingasebenzi bendikhona ndine-2 days ndifumene umsebenzi yena beseke I think ibeke ne-7 to 8 months engasebenzi sekulapse kwa insurance everything singenanto kodwa ke ngeemfefe zikaThixo ndakwazi ukuyombeka ekhaya. Kodwa from there until today andikaze ndibone kufika polisa lizofuna ukwazi ukuthi okanye lizondichazela into yoba ababulali bakhe saya safumana or si-investigatile sifumana iphepha lithi ukusweleka kwakhe yayintoni batheni it's a false identity thuthi kusweleke umuntu ebengamelekanga asweleke kukhonjwe umuntu orongo. Kwalapha kule ntetha yabo kukho into ethi utshomi wakhe uye wamxelela into yoba makanganxibi ezi mpahla akazinxibayo ngoba zizo ezizambulalisa. So umbuzo wami uthi abantu bambuleleyo bambulelele impahla yakhe na, ngoba abayifumananga naloo mpahla if ever bembulela yona abayifumananga. Eyona nto umphefumlo wakhe uhambe fontoni. Ndihleli kule ndlu sikuthi andixoli ngaphakathi because andisifumani isizathu soba ibe namhlanje akakho. Like nje akuvumi into yoba ndivumi into yoba andizuphinda ndimbone. Akuvumi tu kuyala. Ewe yena akakho. Ndimngcwabile ndiyazazi but andazi uba ndinethemba lantoni. Andizazi uba ndinethemba lantoni. Akakho yena akakho.
Welcome back. Usabukele i-expressions. Namhlanje ke saqhubeka noxovula ingxoxo etshisa ibunzi, the gun violence. Obona mbuzo sikubuza yapha ekhaya kukuba, do you think we will ever win the battle against gun violence? Nisjoyinile ke phaa kumakhasi onxibelelwano and I have a guest endizawuncokola naye kodwa before sithethe ndiyathanda into yokubana ndifunde some of your comments on social media. Right, Uti, death penalty must be the order of the day because how can it be when law enforcers are part of the problem or the crime? Umpelo Uti yena, I never wanted to live in a foreign country, but now I feel it's time to leave my beloved country and immigrate to a safer country. Milisani, welcome to Expressions. Do you share the same sentiments?
Thank you so much for having me. I do actually share the same sentiment, especially with the second social media post that we saw. It is not an easy thing to want to leave the country of your birth. South Africa is a great place to be. You feel at home, you're very grounded, you're very rooted here. But when we live in a country where it feels like it's one step forward, 10 steps back, at some point you have to choose yourself, you have to choose your safety, and you have to choose your family, and you leave. So I 100% agree with that. And then with the death penalty comment, I'm not too certain about that because that once again feels like it's taking us back to a dark history that we are coming from, but something serious does need to be done.
And you experienced gun violence.
Unfortunately. At some point, I was just standing outside my church, a place where I feel safe, you know, and I was getting off of the phone with a friend, and I turned around and a gentleman was walking towards me, and I realized that there was a gun towards me, and I had to run away. And then like he literally grabbed me, he put me down, and he put the gun towards my head because my phone is sandling. And on another day, a different day altogether, I was on my way home with my sister, and you know, we got cornered by two men who were following us. He literally came right up to my face. I could feel like the temperature drop because it was so cold. It was so cold, and I can feel that this is a very serious situation. Because I'm in such a dangerous situation. Because I'm constantly so tense, I'm constantly so worried that something is threatening my safety. Who's, you know, who's going to put me in a threatening or dangerous situation.
Oh,
It was a
that's it.
very, very traumatizing event. Like all of these things that have happened have been very, very traumatizing to me. So
awufuni next mntasekhaya. I can only imagine. We have a caller on the line. Naye ozawuadd to the contribution kule conversation esinayo. Khululekani siyakwamkela expressions.
Hello, njani? Siyabona nonke.
Luthini uluvo lwakho ngale ngxoxo sinayo because nawe uye waba ngomnye oye wavalelwa entrongweni from into yokubana wenze i-gun violence.
Yona nje angeze ngisupport ngoba nathi sihambile lolu hambo yabona. Ngoba nami bengisigebe ngesikhulu esike siyaziwa leso sigebe kodwa mina ngangahambi ngihlukumeza abantu. Thina into esasidila ngasasidila ne-business robbery mali understand ukuthi sasibamba inkunzi amashophu yabona. Kodwa kwangasho ukuthi masifike emashophu sifike sibulala abantu sidubule cha. Ukuthi masifika nje ukuthi sifike siyathusa noma singaqhumi isibhamu ukuthi sikwazi ukuthini abantu bethuke thathe lento esithatha siphume sihambe. Kodwa nothi lento esiyenzeka namhlanje ukuthi abantu bayabulawa njengathi ubulawa izinja njengalapha ngihlala eHebron ne. Kodwa eHebron each and every day kutshula umuntu kuyabulawa bayakhuthuzwa abantu bayagwazwa yabona ubuhlungu lento. Ngoba naye uhulumeni kakwazi ukuthi eqinise lapho ukuthi eqinise namaphoyisa anandaba nje siyabona phela amaphoyisa anandaba umuntu ubulala umuntu 2 minutes sebemiyekile sebuyile futhi emphakathini into ebuhlungu leyo ukuthathela abantu into zabo ngoba mina nginje ngiyiformer prisoner angisupport lento.
Siyabulela kakhulu ngoluvo lwakho siyathemba into yokubana nabantu abatsha bazawukhuthazeka into yokubana this life is certainly not worth it. Milisani, closing comments nje uthi qhwisisi wami yintoni ofuna uyibona isenzeka yonke lento ye gun violence iphela kwilizwe lethu.
it's so difficult for us to speak about government and stuff because as the youth, we actually have zero trust in our government. Ungathetha nje ngurhulumente, it's like, whatever. But I don't want that. I want for our government to stand up, to stand in the place that they've been put in and to do the jobs that we're requiring of them. We cannot live in a country where I can't tell the difference between a criminal and a politician.
We continue with this discussion. You don't move a muscle. Ucheki is on the other side.
Welcome back. You're still watching Expressions, your #1 youth current affairs show. We're putting a very important spotlight on the issue of the spike in gun violence that we've been seeing in our society. And the very important poll question that we're asking you, Kochaye, is simply this. Do you think we will ever win the battle against gun violence? This is a conversation that we want you to engage in and make sure that you talk to us on our social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, it's Instagram. Let us know. Have you experienced gun violence? Are you also a victim? Let us know. We can't wait to hear from you. And of course, I'm not having this conversation by myself. I am joined by Edna as well as Nota, and Edna is on Zoom. So Edna and Nota, very warm welcome to Expressions. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, and nice to meet you, Ma'am Edna.
And you know, Edna, I want to find out from you because our poll question simply just really asks about whether this is a battle that we will be able to win. Will we be able to get to a time and a space in South Africa where we don't see gun violence in our society?
Jacqueline, I think as a society, it's us that must take this battle. With Safer South Africa, I do a program that I take the learners, especially the youth. I start from grade 8 to grade 10. It's shocking. A grade 10 learner would walk to a classroom, a school and a classroom with a gun. Where did they get this? We have a big problem. But the thing is, if I have seen that my child is behaving in another manner, I'm too scared to approach them or say anything. Jacqueline, why can't I go seek help privately and go say to somebody and not mention that? You go to my house at this time, I won't be there, but my son will be there. But I'm suspecting he is up to no good because he's got a gun.
Well, Edna did make a very important point around just how young people carrying guns are in South Africa. I mean, if you're having a grade 10 learner walking into a classroom with a gun,
The first time I
what
saw a
is that
gun-
saying about the state of safety?
The first time I saw a gun, I must have been 2 years old. My uncle and I were collecting his guns in Soweto. So, you know, the problem that we have also with our parenting is that we don't have proper intentional parenting. The question is not why the grade 10 learner needs a gun. The question is, let me criminalize my black boy's child. Let me make my black boy child feel like a criminal. Let me call people to come and investigate my household. The reason I wear this bag is so that I don't need to carry a gun, because the people that carry guns know exactly what this bag means and what it signifies. So,
And what does it signify?
well, I mean, it's from youngster CPT, and he's a rapper, and he's very well respected in the Cape Town streets, whether it be by gang communities, and they protected him so that he could continue with his talent and wouldn't have to get into gangsterism. So this is a sign to say, I'm into music, I'm into arts, and the gangsters must keep me away from gang violence.
So you are trusting in gangsters, per se, to protect you instead of SAPS or law enforcement in this country?
The reason why we have guns in our communities is because the government was against us. It was criminal to be black at some point in time during apartheid. And it was very difficult to get guns. But guns were what were killing us, guns were what were oppressing us, and the only way to defend ourselves in our communities was to have and carry guns. That violence has not subsided. Apartheid has gone away, but the violence still permeates our communities, and we still live in separately developed areas where that violence is exacerbated by the fact that we've got lack of opportunities and we don't actually have safety in our communities.
And I want to come to that. Do you think that the socioeconomic factors are the ones that are contributing to why we almost have like a prevalence of Iinkabi, where you see young people being recruited as hitmen?
Now that gun violence, right, is spreading all over our communities, even into more affluent communities, and even our black communities are seeing a spike in gun violence and the prevalence of the usage of lethal weapons, we are now creating a big hoo-ha about it, but it's always been the case.
Okay. Yeah, so Ma'am Edna, I mean, it's actually quite despairing to hear that it's always been the case that, you know, South Africa has been rife with gun violence. But maybe you can talk to us quickly about just some of the programs that you have on the ground.
I would just like to say, you know, as Safer South Africa now, you know, Pop Crew saw it fit that we must now start being proactive, not reactive, where we have so many youth that are in the juvenile because of carrying gun and starting to be in gangs. And I go to schools and I take all the justice system programs where I make sure that there's everybody, there's advocates, there's magistrate at the court, there is correctional officials. We go to the court. We engage with even the prisoners who were arrested when they were in grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, that will talk to the kids and say, it is not worth it. It's not, that gun is not worth it.
I think you make a poignant point there around the fact that it's not worth it. It's just really, really not worth it.
Siyayiqukumbela kanjalo ke si-expressions kodwa ke asinishiyi nodwa uma ibuya iAfrika uyakhuza uthi mawuphele lo mgwa. Take it away.
Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Kubakela kumadoda lento ngumntu ngabantu. Kubakela kumadoda lento ngumntu kumele ikhokelwe ngumoya. Ukusekela kumadoda kuvuka isasela kwindlu emnyama. Kumele sibuyele nembo. Kubalulekile kumadoda ngeva umntu namhlanje. Bayathetha osopolitiki kodwa kuyinhlungu akho mntu nendlebe. Siyathetha inkosi zakowethu kodwa kunamntu onendlebe. Ithi ke loo ntonto zakowethu msomnyama wakowethu. Make sibuyele nembo. Sikhokelwane ngumoya ukusekela kumadoda. Luzawusuka utshwangutsha kwindlu emnyama yakowethu. Yoloo nto isitsho kaloku kumadoda imbongi yomthonyama. Yoloo nto kaloku ikhusa imbongi yomthonyama. Ithi kaloku nto zakowethu asibumbaneni kaloku sixeleni intaka kuba intaka yakho ngeboya benye. Ndakala kumadoda siloki isizwe sako wethu. Makandikuze ukwanjanjalo ndithi ya.